Well, good morning, everyone. My name is W.J. Miles. I'm going to be your instructor for the webinar today, and Barbara Bach
Hello, good morning.
is going to be answering your questions online. If you have any questions during the session today, please type them in the question pane located on the right-hand side of your screen. If you can't see the question pane, you may need to click on the orange arrow button to maximize it. We'll do our best to answer your questions online today, and then at the end of the presentation we should have some time for questions also. Today's webinar is Broker Instanet. So let's have some fun with Instanet and learn some stuff here today. We love for you to get to all your Netris products by going to our website, mymetrotex.com. You'll see that across there. Got lots of great information here for you. We've got drop-down menus here at the top, and then down here at the bottom we've got our new logo. As of the first of the year, we have this new logo for Metrotex. This is our centennial year.
Woohoo!
And you're going to see things on our calendar for tree plantings and celebrations and things like that. We'd love for you to attend any of those that you can. And then down below that is all of our social media links. We would love for you to connect with us on social media. We've got lots of information there for you. One of my favorite is the YouTube channel. We've got recorded videos there for you on all the different products that you use there, and this webinar will be recorded and put on our YouTube channel there for later reference. Then down here at the bottom is our member account access. That's where you log in to access all the things that you have here, registering for classes, canceling your classes, changing your contact information, paying your fees, and all of that. Then directly below the little blue house is our member shortcuts, and this is where we like you to log into Netris or the MLS system here. Over here on the right are our upcoming classes. If you want to see all the classes, click on the View All Classes. It'll bring up the calendar here for Metrotex, and it shows all the different events, committee meetings, classes, and all of that. One little secret I show everybody in class is how to uncheck everything over here except for MLS, because I know you're more interested in our MLS classes than anything else.
Of course they are.
And then you'll see our upcoming classes. The name of the class is here in the center. The date and the time will be on the left-hand side of that, and then our location over here on the right. We have locations all around the Metroplex. We've got a service center in Grapevine, Louisville, Richardson, Garland, Duncanville, and Dallas. So make sure when you find a class that you're interested in that you also find it in a location that you want to take it in. So again, to get to our website, it's mymetrotex.com, and then you'll click on the MLS login directly below the little blue house. Once you sign in, that'll take you to the Netris portal. And today's class is on Instanet. Instanet can take the place of zip forms, but zip forms is not going away. Okay, zip forms is there. It's provided to you now by the National Association of Realtors. Once that happened, instead of the Texas Association of Realtors providing it to you, Instanet saw an opportunity to market themselves to us here in Texas. They're not a new program. They've been around a long time. Over 500,000 realtors in the rest of the United States use Instanet. Instanet is more of a transaction management system. It's not just fill in the documents. It has online paperless storage. It has all of our documents in it, all set up for us to use for e-signature. In e-signature, they call it AuthentiSign, and AuthentiSign is supposed to be the most widely used electronic signature in the United States. It goes across industries. It's not specific to real estate. And then there's paperless storage here. There's document review. It connects to a lot of online systems like iCloud and Dropbox and Google Drive and Google Contacts, all those different types of systems here. So it has a lot more meat to it. When you click on the Instanet icon, that's going to take you to your dashboard on Instanet. Instanet is the name of the solution. You're going to hear it called Transaction Desk a lot. The Transaction Desk is where all of our transactions are stored. All of the documents that are in Matrix attached to listings are kept in the Transaction Desk portion of Instanet. The Transaction Desk is just one part of it. We've got Authentisign, we've got Instanet Forms, we've got DocBox, Task Manager, Broker Tools we're going to talk about a lot today. It has fax built into it here, contacts, setup, and we're going to be talking a lot about setup today and things like that. When you first come in, you'll be in the agent view. If you're a broker, you have two views. If you go over to this little icon, and they've got several names for this little icon. I've heard it called the snowman. I've heard it called the street light. So you're going to hear me refer to some things like that on the webinar today. When you click on that, if you're a broker, you're going to be able to view as a broker. When you click over to that, it's going to show you your broker dashboard. So to have broker access, it all starts with our membership database. When you have an office manager or an assistant that you give access to things in MLS, that carries over into this system, and they're an admin or they're a office manager or a broker, they can have access to the broker dashboard. Agents do not see this. All they see is the agent dashboard here. But since you're the broker, you have two different dashboards. You have the agent dashboard, which you can conduct your own business on and do all of your things on. But then when you need to become the broker of the office or the manager of the office, you would switch to the broker dashboard, and it's going to show you the broker functions here that you can do. So the first thing I like to do is go into the setup. Over on the left-hand side of the system here, this little icon is also called the hamburger icon. See the bun, the meat, and the bun? Okay. Instanet likes to call these things, they're funny little names. So if you click on that little icon called the hamburger icon, you'll see the menu appear over here on the left, and the first place we want to go is the setup. When we click on setup, this is where you can make the system do what you want it to do. So here at the very top is your preferences, and when you click on that, you can go in and put in your user information. This would be your contact information that you want anyone to see when you're doing a transaction and things like that. Then down below that, you're going to see the office information. This is where you would input all of your office information. You want to do that up on our membership database, so it'll come down, but if you come here and you want to verify it's correct, you'll see the office information. Email signature. We highly recommend you go ahead and put in contact information on your email signature here, so that when you send an email through the system, this information would be there at the bottom. So maybe your name, your broker's name, or your office name, telephone number, email address, stuff like that. Whenever you change this in here, be sure and hit that blue update button there. And then branding. When you click on branding, you can upload your broker logo here, or your business logo, a picture of yourself, any other company logos and things like that that you want. One thing to be careful about on this, make sure when you upload it to come back in here and look. It can get too big. Notice it has a size preference here. So if you upload a really big logo here, it could be bigger than that, and it'll overwhelm the screen. So once you change these, be sure and look at them in the system and make sure that they are the size that you want them to be. And then down below that is your login. That you're coming into this system via the Netris portal, so you're coming from a secure environment into a secure environment. It doesn't make you log in again, so I would always come to it from the portal. Okay, so that's the preferences. We go back here, program settings. When you click on program settings, lots of different things that you can set up here. If you go to transaction settings, you'll see that you can do default views here, that you can put in additional information for displays and things. The create a cover sheet. If you've done a transaction in Instanet, and you created a transaction there, you notice in the documents it automatically creates a fax cover sheet. If you don't want that to happen, if it's just in your way, you can turn that off. We demonstrate how to do that in our classes there. Okay? Anytime you make a change in any of these sections, make sure that you hit that update button. And then document settings, again, you can come in here and do your default views that you want. I'm just using the defaults as they are, and I find the system to work fine, but if you ever need to customize any of these settings, you've got all these different things you can do. Checklist, you can come in here and create checklists for listings and purchases and leases and things like that to remind you to do things. The form settings here, you can come in, again you can sort how you want the forms to appear in the libraries when you create a transaction, things along that line. And then down here is the fax settings. This system does have faxing capability built into it. You do not have a phone number. I get that question a lot in class, is what is my phone number to receive a fax? That it doesn't work that way. The fax cover sheet that you send to people has a phone number on it, and it reads a 2D barcode on it and knows that, okay, it goes under this agent or this broker into this transaction. So it uses the same phone numbers or phone number, I'm not sure how many they have there, to put it into a transaction. Then we have the task settings here. Again, you can set up task, who's the owner of the task, what's the statuses of the task, all of that. This is just to remind you, as reminders there, who does what on a transaction. Print drivers we're not going to talk about. Then the last one we got is broker review. This is actually where you turn on and off whether you get the broker review information. If you have this turned off, then you won't get any notifications, you don't do any broker review. But if you turn the activate this on, then you will get reminders, notifications that, hey, there are things for broker review there. So this is where you turn it on. If you're a broker and somebody in your office does all the document review and you don't want to know anything about it, then come here and turn off the review functionality. But if you need those reminders and you need to review documents, then you would activate that on there. Okay, so let's go ahead and go back again. And then there's lots of other things you can do in here. You can set up how the notifications go and everything. If you click on notifications, you've got the general notifications, task notifications, and super user. If you go into general, you can tell it, I want document review here. I want the emails to come to me. If you don't want those emails, you just have a particular time of day that you're going to do it, or you're in there all the time anyway and you don't want the emails, then you can turn those review requests off, or the accept request, or the reject request. All these different things you can customize when you are notified via email. And I'll show you an email here in a little bit that I've received on some things. Okay, so if we can go back again and we come down to clauses. You can set up clauses for your personal use or your office use. If there's something you're telling your agents that you want on a particular transaction, in a particular form, in a particular section of that form, you can go into the office here and set up clauses for them to use, like legal statements that you want inserted on particular things there. So this would be for the office. You can do your own personal ones also. If you have things that you type in a lot into forms and you want to type it once and just insert it, then you can do that here on the personal clauses. I'm going to back up again, and then when we come down, we have all these default dashboards. If you want to set up how your dashboard looks every time you open the system, this is the agent dashboard here. You can set up the default dashboard. This will also carry over to your new agents there, if you set up a default one for your new agents on what they can see there. You can change it over here on the right if you click the add button here, it's going to show what's called the widgets. And when you see the widgets, you can pull things out and put it on the dashboard if you want. So you grab an icon. When it turns purple there, you can drop it. Then you can rearrange it any way you want to on the screen so that it looks the way that you want it to look. So this would be the default agent dashboard. If I back up there, we're going to see our checklist. If you click on checklist, you can create checklist. Maybe you have things that you require your agents to submit on a transaction, and you want them to see the checklist of what you're going to be looking for on that transaction, the different documents, the dates, the times, all that different stuff. You could go ahead and create a checklist here and show that to your agents. If we back out of here, then we have transaction templates. Agents can create their own templates, but you can also come in here and create transaction templates. So you might have one for listing docs, offer docs. I create several test ones in class and things like that. So the different types of transactions that you do, you can create a template on that and put the documents in there that are required for that transaction, and then you can fill in the actual fields in those documents that 9 times out of 10 would be correct. So if we go ahead and back out and come back down to third-party settings right here. Third-party settings. If you use Lone Wolf or Top Producer, you can connect to those systems with this system so that you can use your contacts and different things in those two systems. So Top Producer and Lone Wolf are the only two that it connects directly to. If we back up again, then we've got our service providers. If your office has agreements with a title company, a co-marketing agreement with a title company or a mortgage company, you can come in here and add those companies there so that they show up as service providers. Okay, and then down below they do have this support icon. If you click on that support icon, they've got lots of good online training here. They've got pre-recorded webinars that you can listen to and see. You'll see help videos right here. These help videos, I have to admit, are a little bit dry for me. They draw arrows on the screen and guide you through without talking. In fact, they have elevator junk kind of playing behind there. So I guess it accomplishes the task, but everybody's so used to videos these days that I really wish they would talk you through some of those. But those are there for your use there. Okay, so that's just going through some of the setup things here on the setup menu. If we go back to the hamburger icon in the top left-hand corner and expand this out, then we're going to talk about the broker tools here. If you're a broker, you'll see this, or if you're an office manager or an admin in the office, you will see this if you have access to that level. The agents do not see the broker tools. When you click on broker tools, these are all the different things you can do as a broker. You can review documents, you can transfer transactions, you can go into all the office transactions, you can see your agents, you can run reports here, you can set up some office settings, you could create some authenticing templates, and then canned notes. Canned notes has to do with the review documents up here. If you review documents and you see that the same mistake or the same information is missing, or you have to respond the same way a lot, then you can do a canned note so that that response is already there. If we click on review documents, this is where you can come in and see the transactions that you have to review there. I'm going to show you a different way to do that here on the broker dashboard here in a moment, but you'll see the street name and the agent that submitted these documents. So Heather's got some, I've got a few, Barb's got some here in our little play brokerage that we'll look at here in just a few minutes. If we go back to that menu, you can transfer a transaction. Let's say someone has left the company And when they leave the company, all of the transactions that were underneath that agent revert to you, so that you still have the paper trail of all the transactions that were done underneath you. And you can transfer those transactions. Let's say there was a live listing that you did not let the or an active listing that you did not let the agent take. You could actually transfer that to another agent within your office if you wanted to. Okay, so that's what the transfer transaction is. If we go on down, we've got all the office transactions here, and you'll see the percentage of complete. So we've got a lot of play transactions here that we use for training, and if they have been submitted for review, you're going to see the complete transactions here, or the completeness, I should say. If we go ahead and go back again, we're going to go down to the agents. If the agent is under you in MLS, they're going to be under you in Instanet. So these are all people here that work at Metrotex that have sign-ins there. Okay, so you would see your list of agents there. And then down below that, you have reports. You can generate reports in this system. So you can come in here and select a report. And maybe you want to see the agent that are using this system. And you can select the agents over here on the left. So let me get somebody who's actually using it. Barbara and Heather. Where's Heather at? There's Heather and myself down here. And then you can come up here to run report, and it's going to show you who's actually logged into the system and are using it. When was the last time they logged in? How many total logins do they have to the system over here? So you'll see several of those there. There's agent uses, there's transactions, there's tasks, call logs. If they're recording their conversations with their client, you can actually see how many times they've actually accessed the call logs there. So several different reports that you can look at. We get back up here again. You can do office settings. On the office settings, one thing that we recommend is that you do not allow the agents to delete transactions. You want to keep that paper trail of all those previous transactions. So we would recommend on this office settings that you come here, allow agents to delete transactions, and say no. The reason we have it turned on is we're a play office in here. We do delete transactions and show how to delete transactions, but we would recommend that you put that to off. And then show vendors to your participants. This would be if you did those service providers and had the mortgage company, the title companies, all those different service providers. Do you want all of your participants to see those or not? So lots of different things that you can set up here. Go ahead and hit that add update button there if you change that.
I have a question. If you could go back to office transactions, they wanted to know, can you transfer a transaction outside of a brokerage? Not quite sure.
This would be your paperwork that they did while they're with you. So that's the reason when someone leaves that they transfer it to the broker rather than taking it with the agent. You're responsible for the transactions that have been done. So I don't know why you would want to transfer it out of the brokerage.
And if I was an agent from Office A, and then I went to a total different broker, will that new broker see all my transactions?
No, the transactions stay with the broker that they were done underneath.
The transactions stay with the broker.
Now they can put that listing into MLS under the new broker, and then that transaction would continue on with the new broker. But it's my understanding there's not any switching of transactions in Instanet.
No,
it stays with the broker.
It stays with the broker.
Okay.
It stays with the broker.
All right.
And then someone wanted to know, we were talking about reviewing. Are you going to show how to review?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
We're going to go through a transaction.
Okay.
This is all setup stuff we're doing.
Okay. Okay.
Just to make sure you understand how to do all this. Authenticate templates. You can upload documents here, and you can also see all the documents that are in our libraries and the setup there. So if we go back to canned notes, again, this is going to be in relation to reviewing documents. So if we come up here to down here to canned notes, you can create your own canned notes. So I've got some examples here. Document has initial and or signatures missing, or the IABS form is missing. You can add whatever notes you want to here. I'm going to hit add right there. And then whatever the note is that you use a lot when you are doing transaction review, you can come here and type those notes in. So maybe just so it'll show up in the list really well, I'm just going to do a whole bunch of X's here, and then I'm going to show you in the list where that shows up on there. So anytime you make any changes, always be sure and hit those blue save or update buttons, and boom, that one is there for me. So that is how you're going to go through and set up all your broker preferences and your setup options or preferences here to make the system work the way that you want. So again, when you come into the system, you're going to be in the agent view, most cases. If you want to switch to the broker view, you're going to come to the little traffic light icon up here. You're going to click on it, and you're going to switch to View as Broker. View as Broker. When you click on View as Broker, it's going to bring up the broker dashboard. You're now going to be at the office level, and everything that you see in these widgets or boxes is going to be things that are going on in the office or things that you have access to in the office. If you want to change the things that are on this screen, again, you're going to come up to the traffic light icon, and you're going to do Show Widgets. Show Widgets. When you click on the Show Widgets, these are all the different office widgets that you have here. So if you want to be able to look at all of the office transactions, then you would grab this little green office, pull it out. Once the screen turns purple, then you can drop it, and usually it's going to wind up down here at the bottom of this. You can size these by grabbing that corner to make it larger or smaller if you want to, so that it doesn't take up as much time or space on the screen. If you want to move it, you grab the title bar, and you can move it wherever you want it to be on that dashboard. Okay? So if you want it to be larger like these others are, then you grab it, you pull it over, and it's going to snap into that size there. If you want to get rid of one, you can hit the X in the top right hand corner. It's going to fall back up into the widgets, and then it's out of your way, but you can always bring it back if you want. So you just drag, drop it once you see the little blue or violet, whatever that color is, purple, whatever it is, and then you'll see that widget appear there. So some of them that you may want is the office, the things for review. Mm-hmm. If you grab the review and you drop it out here, it's going to come down here. These are documents that are waiting for your review here. Once you get the dashboard looking the way that you want it to be, then hit the little lock. This says lock and unlock the dashboard. When you lock it, then you can't mess it up. It won't let you drag these things around. So you get it set the way that you want, and then you lock it, and then that way it will not change there. So let's talk about reviewing documents. This one, it talks about transactions that are closing in the next 7 days. You might want to look at those periodically and make sure you've got the documents for those. We all know how agents are so good about turning in their documents on time, but some agents aren't as good, right? But the ones that have been submitted are already here for your review. It says waiting for review. If you go to the document review, it's going to open up the documents. And this is back to that screen that we saw earlier. It has the address of the transaction here, or whatever they named the transaction, you'll see there, the agent that submitted it, and how many documents have been submitted. If you click on that, it's going to show you the documents in those, and maybe we want to come over here and click on the little street light icon again, and you can hit accept, reject, review the document or whatever. If you actually click on the document and you come inside the document, and again, we don't do real transactions here. We just use PDF files, whatever we've got on our desk here. But you can accept it, you can reject it, you can reset this document, you can print it, you can download it. If it was not rotated correctly, you could rotate it. If there's something you need to zoom in or out on, you can do that there. So if you hit the accept, you're saying, yep, looks good to me, continue on. If you hit the reject, watch what happens. It pops up and says, you must provide a note telling them why you rejected it. So right here are the canned notes. Remember when I was showing those notes? See all of those X's down there? I was just showing you that's going to show up in this menu. So you've already got some that are generic ones that you've got different things missing. I added the document has initials and or signatures missing, or the IBS form is missing. Whatever you have to tell your agents a lot, you can go ahead and put into a canned note so that when you reject it and it says that to them, then you can save. Also, if you're typing this one on a transaction, you go, you know, I get that one a lot, you can tell it to add it to your canned notes so that it'll be there for future transactions.
That's a great time saver.
I agree. You don't have to type as much. So then you're going to hit save, and boom, you just rejected that. So Barbara, when you get back, you're going to have a rejected document. Okay?
Darn it.
So we rejected that one, and then if we come down here, here's another one that's had something submitted, and we click on that, we review it, and we see the information here. Oops, this one's got information missing, doesn't it? So we're going to reject that and tell it document has initials or signatures missing, and hit save. Okay? Very easy for you to review the documents and submit those back to the agent. Okay? So let's look and see how it looks to an agent. So I can actually go back to my broker dashboard here, and notice on the broker dashboard I've got impersonate an agent. So let's look and see what Barbara sees when she puts something up for broker review. So I'm going to impersonate Barbara. And this is what Barbara's screen looks like. Wow, your dashboard's really weird, Barbara.
Yeah, I know.
So let's say Barbara has is going to create a transaction. So they hit create transaction. They can name the transaction whatever they want, and they can select from a source over here. They can actually start their transaction from Netris, and we highly recommend that they do. And I just have a MLS number memorized here on a previous transaction. So this is one of my pet properties here, my straight lane. If you take any classes from me, you know I play with 10777 straight lane in Dallas. And let's say Barbara is the listing agent on this property, and we're going to hit create transaction and use the wizard. When we hit create transaction, it's going to pull the information over from MLS. See that MLS number, street name, date. It even has the tax ID, the subdivisions, all of this stuff. And then down below on this step 1 of the wizard on the detail page, this is where all the dates and amounts and things are. So let's say we're scheduled for closing on this. Well, I guess we're still creating it. It's not going to let us put in a closing date. So then we're going to hit next. And then here's the dates. This is going to be our list date. And then we've got an expiration date. Let's say it's going to be through the end of the year. And go ahead and put that in. and then we're going to hit next again, and it has the participants or the contacts already put in. Barbara's the listing agent. The listing broker is the one out of MLS here. Here's another listing agent out of MLS, and then the listing broker and so forth. So you would see the correct information there. In this case, it's not correct because we grabbed another transaction out of or listing out of Netris. When we hit next again, it's going to ask for any forms. So they're going to add the forms that they need, and it shows you the libraries here. Instead of opening the libraries and looking for it, we teach in class just to use the search box up here. So they need the information about brokerage services. I just type in service, and it's information about brokerage services. Put a check mark there. And then the 1 to 4 family. Actually, we're doing a listing, aren't we? Let's do
you put in actually the TAR number like 1101 or
that's right.
1116.
Correct.
You put in a number too.
1101 is the number for the listing agreement, and we could go get the seller's disclosure or all that different stuff. Okay. Then we're going to hit add. It's going to add both of those documents to that transaction. Then we hit next. We can upload any documents we want to this transaction also. See how that fax cover sheet is created? This is what the fax cover sheet looks like. If you open it up, there's a telephone number here at the bottom to send the fax to, but the way that the system knows what to do with it is with this 2D barcode there. So it's showing the transaction, who's the agent, who's the transaction, all of that stuff in that. I know we're not sending many faxes anymore, but there's still has the ability to do that. So once we've created that transaction and we hit done, it's going to show up on Barbara's transaction desk here. Transaction desk has all the different transactions. So let's say Barbara needs to add some forms to this document. So I'm going to go to forms here, and I can upload a document. I hit add new document. It has 2 ways for you to add the document. Well, it's several different ways for you to add the document, but here in the blue box, you can drag and drop something in that blue box and upload it. I think we've all gotten the habit of drilling down into our computers, and you can click to upload a document and drill down on your computer wherever you want to go get it. You can upload from a computer or device. You can copy from DocBox, which we talk about in class also. You can go into one of your third-party cloud systems, Dropbox, Google Drive, iCloud, all of those different things. You can email things into this transaction. Love that feature. There's actually an email address for this transaction. You copy that, and you can email it directly into the documents on this transaction. And then you can always go to download a contact card, kind of like the, I think they're called VCF cards or whatever, in Outlook. So let's say Barbara wants to put a document in here. I should have looked to see if there were any documents on this computer. Let's look and see. Downloads, maybe. Here we go. I have no idea what this is, but we'll open it and upload it. So it's going to upload that. When they upload it, notice this right over here. That's you. That's the request review. So if this was an executed contract, some document they need to submit to the office, all they have to do is hit request review. It says, send this document for review. Yep, I want to send it for review, and boom. The broker's going to be notified that Barbara has submitted it, or the office manager, whoever has broker level review there is going to be notified. So that's how they submit documents to you. And then notice there's a little watch there saying waiting for approval. This is my email right here. Let's see if an email's come. Right there, 9:03 a.m. Nope, that was this morning when I did another one. Let me hit the refresh button. There we go. If we scroll up here to the top, Barbara just submitted a document for review at 10:39 a.m. That was the one that we just pushed the button on there, and I was notified because I have the notifications turned on in the settings to be notified anytime any documents are set for review. Again, you may not want this. If you've got hundreds of agents in your office and you get 50 or 100 documents a day, it may overwhelm you with all the emails you're getting. So that's the reason I showed you there in the beginning how to turn that on and off if you don't want the notifications. So if we come back over here, Barbara submitted it, and boom, she's off doing her thing, and I can go back in and review there. So that's how easy it is for the agents to create a transaction, upload documents to it, and submit for you. So I'm going to go ahead and jump back over on the portal here, sign back in as me, and when I come back in, it remembered I was in the broker dashboard before, and if I come down here to look for review documents, see that one right there at the top of the list? That's what Barbara just submitted here for me. So if I come back here, no, it was a straight lane one. Here we go. Straight lane, there we go. November, whatever document that is. I'm not going to open it because I don't know what it is.
I don't know either.
But we can open it up and review it and then accept it or reject it. Okay? So lots of neat things here you can do with review. It all stays in the system. It's paperless storage. It'll never go away. You can have as many transactions, as many documents as you need to here. Okay? If we come back over and we go back to the dashboard, there's other things that we can see here. We can see the transactions that are scheduled to be closed in the next 7 days. So this one's one that I play with here. That has a closing date in the next 7 days. So it's watching for new things that are coming up to close. If I want to see the things that have closed in the last 7 days to make sure we got our stuff from the title company and our checks, all of that stuff, I can see those previous ones. If I want to look at all the office transactions, I can see those down here. So I could go in and find a particular transaction. If you want to go into all transactions, you go to transactions, then again, you're going to see the completeness of it. You're going to see everything on that transaction. You can sort them different ways. You can filter them different ways. You could add a new transaction there. Okay? So lots of great stuff here on the broker dashboard for you. Let me look here and see if there's anything else. Transaction templates we talked about, waiting for review, impersonating the agent. So another reason to impersonate an agent, maybe you've got somebody on vacation or someone's sick in the hospital and you're needing to help them take care of their business. That's the reason they allowed you to impersonate them and go in and do business underneath that agent. Okay? And make sure we covered everything here.
On your transaction list, WJ, some of them had a blue star, some did not.
Ah, good reminder. So if we go back into this transaction and we go into
All your transactions.
the documents here. Oh, that's a...
No, it was on your transaction list, I think. Your list of transactions.
Actually, I need to get out of broker review. I need to go back to the agent. Here we go. Now if we go into transactions and we go into our documents, do I have any documents on this one? Yeah. Go into documents. Over here on the right-hand side, when you upload a document to a transaction, you're going to see this star. And that star has to do with who can see that document. If it's a private, it would just be the person that put it in there. Of course, MLS staff and the brokers can see it. But it's not going to go out on MLS. It's not going to go out for the public to see. It defaults to the MLS agent view. It's going to be green in that case. So you can tell by the color. If it's private, it's white. If it's MLS only, it's green, right there. And we encourage the agents, if it's something that anybody can see, go ahead and make it public. and it will turn blue. If it's public there, then on the customer portals in MLS, when they're receiving auto emails and they have a customer portal, they have added so that they can see documents on that now. So we highly encourage you to go ahead and make it public if possible, but if it's something you don't want the public to see, then it does default to the MLS only. Also on this transaction, notice I've got a rejection here on this one. So when I click on that rejection, I see the note that the broker put on there for me. Okay, so I would go in and take care of business, do whatever I need to do that. If I see a little watch as the agent, then I know that's still waiting for review, that it hasn't been reviewed yet. Okay, we talked about impersonating an agent.
If you have any questions,
Yes.
Oh, I see one. It said customer portal. We teach a class called Client Management. We talk about auto emails, and the customer that you send it to, the client you send it to, they're able to see all the photos, click on the MLS number, and if the agent had made their document public, like maybe the seller's disclosure or something like that, the recipient of that on their customer portal, they'll get to see that. So if you have more questions about customer portal, you can attend one of our client management classes. We go into great detail about it, or give us a buzz. What is the iOS app settings and the setup options?
So if we go back to setup and we go to the iOS settings, push notification apps. I have not used this, and I have not seen it talked about on any of the trainings that I've been
haven't
in.
either.
It may be something that's coming in the future. It may be something we don't know about, that you can push things to other devices here.
Let me see if I can find it real quick.
Yeah, I haven't seen it on any.
And I've never seen on any of the videos either.
So the connected devices here, I would think that it's going to be like an iPhone or an Android or whatever, and then can you push notifications to it? I haven't seen it, so I don't know for sure what that does for you. We're still learning this product also. We've only had it about 6 months or so now, so we're still learning some of the product information here also. Other questions?
Please repeat the transaction view options, i.e. agent, MLS, etc. Transaction view.
We're talking about creating a transaction. Actually, let me show you how to create a transaction from, excuse me, from Matrix. Okay, if we're back here at My MetroText, directly below the little blue house is MLS login. Takes you to the Netris portal after you sign in. When you go into Matrix and you look up a transaction or a listing, so I'm trying to think of one here. Let's just do address 634.
You spelled address wrong.
I really wish I could type. It would help me so much in my job if I could type properly. I tell everybody that in class. This is just a property I sold several years ago, and let's say I'm going to start a transaction on this property. So I'm in the full agent view here. Down below the picture on the property, you're going to see this little Instanet icon. It's green sheets of paper. It's kind of in a quarter moon there. If we click on that, it's going to take us into Instanet Transaction Desk, and it allows us to start a transaction. So this is the name of it. The template would be, if we have created any templates, you would see those there. We teach your agents how to create those templates in class. I'm not going to apply a template right now. And then what type of transaction is it? So let's say this is a residential sale, and it's going to pull the information over from Netris into this transaction. And if it's a sale, I am the selling agent. Okay, and I can use the wizard. When I hit create, again, it's going to pull all that information over from Matrix into this transaction. So I would go through the steps here on the wizard and fill the information in. of the dates and the times. Maybe we've got acceptance date. This system is used all over the country, so you're going to see some dates that we don't particularly use around here. We call our acceptance date here, we call that the execution date. So you're going to see different names for different things, and you're going to see some that we don't use there. Then we'll hit next. It's going to show who the participants are on the properties here, and if we hit next again, it's going to show any forms. If we want to add our forms, again, we come into search and we hit 1 to 4 family. We do 1-4. We do the IBS. I think it's what is it, 2503?
Yeah, 25 something.
250. Nope, it's not 3.
Pick one.
2501.
There you
Yeah,
go,
there
yeah.
we go. And put that in and grab all the documents that you need there and put them in the basket, and then you hit add. Okay? Then we go to next again. In the documents here, if there were documents attached to that listing in Matrix, they would automatically come over. So the seller's disclosure, the T47, the surveys, all of that would have automatically come over from there. Once we create it, we hit done there, and boom, we have created the transaction, and we can do all the different things here. So we could upload additional documents, we could send it out for e-signature. So this really isn't the class where we're going to show you all the different parts you can do on the transaction, but that's how you create a transaction from Matrix.
We had a good question. Will the system eventually replace zip forms? No. Zip forms is still used by many, many agents, and they're very comfortable in using it, and that's fine. You have a choice. So whether you can still use .loop, you can use DocuSign, you can use zip forms, you can use Instanet, whatever one is easiest for you to use. How does this straight lane listing get submitted to MLS? You can actually start a brand new listing from Transaction Desk and fill in the data input sheet and upload it as incoming listing.
That's correct, yes. And in the advanced Instanet class, we'll teach you how to do that. You add the transaction over in Instanet, you put the data input sheet. That's a sheet that the agent takes to the home when they're getting ready to list it, and they check off all the amenities, they put their room measurements and everything on it. If you put that on a tablet and you fill it in while you're walking around the house, once you've got that data input sheet done, you can upload it to Matrix and create an incoming listing from that. So that's one of the great features we're going to teach you how to do in the advanced Instanet class. So for the agents, we have the introduction to Instanet, and now we have the advanced Instanet. We may turn this into a class for brokers in the future.
Yeah.
I'm not sure whether we will or not.
Do you have where a broker has multiple offices and you can show switching back and forth between them? Do we have that capability of doing that, to show them that?
I would assume if you have it in MLS, you're going to have it in this system, but in the test system that we use, or the test brokerage we have, I haven't seen it. But just remember, everything that you have access to in MLS, you should have access to in Instanet, because our membership database comes over. I would have to check on that one and see for sure on that, but I would assume it would.
Any of these classes, webinars, Matrix Little Minutes, they're on our YouTube website. WJ showed you how you can get to our YouTube webpage off of mymetrotext.com. Lower left-hand side, you click the icon for YouTube, and it will take you to where you can just see tons of videos. And we're working on that to update them as we go along, because we have lots of them.
If you come to our YouTube channel here and you click on videos, usually when it's a computer screen, it's one of our MLS videos there. You'll see other folks that do things on computer also, but usually when it's a computer screen, you're going to see either a webinar or a training that we did there for you. So tons of training here for you on MLS, on zip forms, doing the CMA, RPR, tax, you name it. We've got videos, training videos here of either recorded webinars or special videos that we did there. Other questions?
see, I think we've answered all of those that were sent. You do know if you ever have any questions, you can call us directly in the MLS department at 214-540-2755.
Yep, that's the number to the MLS department. We man that line 8:30 to 5 Monday through Friday. We also have an email address. It's just mls@dfwre.com. All right, I think that's all the questions we have there, guys. So we appreciate you participating today. I hope you've learned a little bit about Instanet, and we do encourage you to come to the classes where you get CE credits for all of our classes there. And we'll teach you on the computer. We have computers where we teach all the different classes, so we would love to see you there. Everyone have a great week, and thanks again for participating.